All right, let's just jump right in. Have you ever had that feeling where your emotions just seem to be wildly overreacting to modern life? You know, that constant friction between how you feel and what's actually going on? Well, if you have, you're definitely not alone. And the reason why is actually pretty wild. It turns out we're all running on Stone Age emotional hardware in a 21st century digital world.
I mean, really think about it for a second. Why does opening your credit card bill or seeing a nasty comment online make your heart pound and your palms get all sweaty? That is literally the same biological fight or flight response our ancestors had when they were staring down a life or death threat. It feels so completely out of proportion, doesn't it? And that paradox right there is at the heart of so much of our modern anxiety. So here's the bottom line. Our brains evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to deal with very specific things, immediate physical threats. But our world? It has changed at lightning speed, evolutionarily speaking. And our emotional hardware, that ancient, powerful system in our heads, just hasn't had time to catch up with the constant, abstract demands of our new software. Things like digital notifications, career stress, and social media. Okay, so that brings us to our first big idea here, the emotional mismatch. We're going to dig into why our internal wiring feels so, well, outdated. And there's actually a scientific name for this whole feeling. It's called an evolutionary mismatch. So, this is the core concept right here. Our brains are these perfectly tuned instruments, but they were tuned for a concert that ended 100,000 years ago, a world of real predators and food scarcity. An evolutionary mismatch is what happens when that finely tuned instrument gets played by an email. The emotional response is 100% real, but the context, the trigger, is just completely wrong. And this is where it gets really clear. Look at how this plays out day to day. That primal panic of a predator attack? Yeah, that's now being repurposed for a work deadline. That deep, gnawing fear of starvation? That gets triggered by a debt notification on your phone. And the potentially fatal threat of being cast out from your tribe? That same ancient program gets activated when you're unfollowed or see friends hanging out online without you. The feeling is ancient, the trigger is brand new. So, okay, what are we supposed to do with all these intense feelings then? I love this quote because it completely reframes the whole thing. A negative emotion isn't a red stoplight. It's not a command to just slam on the brakes or run away. It's much more like a warning light on your car's dashboard. It isn't yelling that you're going the wrong way, it's just saying, hey, you might want to pay attention to this. Now for our next section. To really get a handle on this mismatch, we have to talk about a key biological idea, homeostasis. That's our body's natural drive for balance. But what happens when that entire system gets hijacked? So this is how the system is supposed to work, right? We're just chillin' in a state of balance. That's homeostasis. A threat appears, say you get hungry. That pushes you into a state of non-homeostasis. That feeling of hunger drives an action, you go find food, you eat, the threat is gone, and boom, you return to that calm, balanced state. It's a simple, elegant, and effective loop designed for survival. But, and this is a huge but, in our modern world, this system can go haywire. Because our stressors aren't a lion that we can run away from, they're constant and often unresolved, we can get stuck in that red, out-of-balance state. And here's the real mind bender. Research suggests the very chemicals of stress can become, unconsciously, rewarding. Our brains can actually form a dysfunctional habit, an addiction to anxiety or anger, that actively pulls us away from balance, keeping us stuck in that loop of distress. Okay, I know that sounds pretty bleak, like we're just doomed to be stuck in this loop forever, but this is where the story takes a turn, and it's really, really good news. Your brain isn't broken. It's not faulty. It's just running on old software. And the most exciting part is, we can absolutely install an update. We are not stuck with these ancient patterns. And the key to this update is a concept called neuroplasticity. It sounds like a fancy word, but it's this incredible, proven fact that our brains can physically change and reorganize themselves based on our experiences. What this means for you, for all of us, is that our emotional patterns are not set in stone. Through intentional practice, we can literally build new neural pathways, new roads in our brain that serve us better in the world we actually live in. So how do we actually do this rewiring? Well, the iceberg analogy is perfect for this. Think about the tiny tip of the iceberg that you can see above the water. That's your conscious, logical mind. That's the part of you listening right now, nodding along, thinking, yes, this makes total sense. I shouldn't panic about an email. It learns fast, but its control is pretty weak and gets overwhelmed by stress really easily. The real challenge, the real work, lies beneath the surface. It's that massive submerged part of the iceberg. That's your subconscious, your limbic system. And that's where those ancient, automatic, life-or-death emotional habits are stored. This part of your brain doesn't listen to logic. It learns through repetition, through emotion, and through experience. Rewiring this part? Well, that's the real game.
So the big question is, how do we reach that subconscious mass? How do we actually update the software? Fortunately, we have a whole powerful toolkit to draw from, using both modern science and ancient wisdom. Let's look at some practical, actionable strategies. So here's a simple framework you can use the next time you feel that emotional hijack starting. Number 1, recognize the signal, just name the feeling. 2, assess the trigger. Is this a real tiger or is this a paper tiger? 3, decode the message. What is this feeling trying to tell me I need? 4, decide on a constructive action. And finally, number 5, reflect on it later and adjust. This whole process creates a crucial pause between the trigger and your reaction, and that pause, that's where your power is. And to really get at that deep rewiring, we have to approach it on multiple levels. There are cognitive methods like CBT that help you reframe your negative thoughts. Then you have somatic or body-based practices like deep breathing. This sends a direct physical signal of safety straight to your ancient brain. And then there are emotional practices like mindfulness, which train your attention and help you create that all-important space to choose your response. You know, what's so cool is that this isn't just modern psychology. For centuries, holistic systems like traditional Chinese medicine have developed practices aimed at the very same thing. Practices like acupuncture, herbal medicine, and mindful movements like Tai Chi. They're all designed to restore that crucial internal balance, that homeostasis. It's a concept that modern neuroscience is just now beginning to confirm from a whole different angle. So, the crucial takeaway from all this is simple. You are not your automatic, ancient emotional reactions. Understanding this mismatch between your brain's design and your modern world, that's the first step. The next is realizing that you have the tools to consciously reshape your own neural pathways. Your brain is running on ancient software. The only question left is, are you ready to install the update?